Live from Berkeley. It's
All right. Good
live from
morning, people.
Berkeley. It's Tuesday afternoon.
Yes, me too.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for
And we
joining
have
us
Chef Gabby
today.
today.
We have
Hello.
a special guest today, very special guest, Chef Gabi.
Hello.
Chef Gabby is from that place right here. I mean, not from, but he used to work at La Tour d'Argent. You know, La Tour d'Argent is one of the most, it's one of the most famous restaurants in the world. Huh? And
Mm-hmm.
it's been open.
They claim to have opened in 1582.
Yeah,
Gabi, did you cook there from the very beginning?
yeah.
No, unfortunately, I was not, but we have great stories from Frederick doing the croissant and
Uh,
then
so what would be great is, for example, what I like about your whole experience, Gabby, is when you started to work there, you had to start from the bottom. You know, that's how we do in France, and then you have to do the compagnonnage. Can you talk about the compagnonnage?
yeah, so I was doing
How did you?
I signed up with with my school, so I had to find an employer that would pay for 2 years of my program, and I was doing basically 6 months in the restaurant and 4 months in school for 2 years, and then I had my exam. You could do the same degree, but without working, which was not as fun, and you didn't learn as much as if you did compagnonnage. Working in the
The
kitchen.
compagnonnage is you do school and it's a kind of a training. How what's the
That was so it's alike, but I was doing a BTS, which was like just the highest exam you can pass in France for the kitchen. So I was doing all my regular classes from French math to learning how to manage a
oh, okay.
restaurant, and then some cooking also front of the house, so we could review everything. But I decided to work into a fine dining kitchen. Just it's better when you're younger to do long hours and work like 6 or 7 days a week, and working like 14 to 16 hours every day. So it is tough. It is really tough. You can't really cry because you didn't get your break or because you want to eat. Is your work done? If your work is not done, you have to keep prepping until everything is set up for the line. And then after that, well, you can have a quick lunch, eating usually on the side of the station.
So how long does it take? 2 years to be what to be able to work in a restaurant, not being a chef. You just once you
Yes, so just 2 years to become like a first commie. So it's like the second grade from the bottom. Um, you have to learn all the basics. So you start with garde manger usually and do a cold preparation. There is some cooking involved, but you're not at a hotline during service. But you're making nice entremet. We cooked scallops and shrimp, à la minute when we had an order. So it's a lot of prep. It's a lot of pressure, especially when you come on a Tuesday morning and you've been closed for a day. So you have to get everything ready from the beginning, like cleaning the scallops for the smell. Try to reuse everything to make it special or to do a custom.
so this is a high-end cuisine.
Yeah, that was three Michelin star restaurant.
It's not just preparing scallop. There's a whole system just for
Each each
ingredients.
plate had like about 10 to 15 ingredients that you had to get ready, between plucking herbs to make sauces, to make mayonnaise, to make the pâté or get the foie gras ready, make the brioche
The foie
for.
gras. Ah, the foie gras.
Yum.
Yes, truffle and foie gras. So some of them, we had a company that was making foie gras for La Tour d'Argent that was used for dinner service. It came in like little ceramic dishes that was enough for two people, and that was like a couple hundred bucks just for that. But
Crazy.
yes,
So the foie gras is still available in France, I think.
oh yes.
Oh yes, but not here.
Here it depends on the.
Ah, Sandy, look at Sandy.
I think It's in California you can, but I think there is some other state that might allow it. Or you, when you're close to Canada, it's easier to get it online shipped.
Yeah.
So I have a friend in California that gets some shipped to his restaurant. So he showed me like a little assiette foie gras banh mi style that he did,
Wow.
and it was really nice. So
Or you can just make your own. I have my geese out in the garden, and they're feeding right now. I should have foie gras by next week.
that's nice. Send me the photos.
Don't talk about your wife like that, James. You're gonna be in trouble. Okay.
Well, whenever I used to go to France a lot on business, and whenever I was there, I always made sure there were several things that I always made a point of eating while I was in Paris. Foie gras was one of them. The raw milk goat cheeses was another one, which are so fabulous, and you just can't get them here.
Yeah, I know.
Which one, James? Which one?
Little fresh, unpasteurized goat cheeses.
Oh yeah.
They're the Valençay, the little
But that's
croton.
you know.
Yeah.
So the foie gras. Remember, James? We talked about this. It was born in. That's a long. It's a very old. It's a very old tradition that was born with the Egyptian. We had traces of foie gras making in the Egyptian time, which is a very long time already, because they already noticed that the duck used to gorge before they travel, and they used to eat tons of grain so they can be fat and they can go and travel in the time, right?
They would
And
eat so much grain that their liver would swell up to like 3 or 4 times its normal size because they had to fly extremely long distances and they needed that fat and that energy. And the Egyptians observed that and they saw that, and so they figured out a way to kind of, harness that.
They figure out a way to eat it.
Yeah. I don't know who was the first one to decide that they should eat that liver, but he was probably very happy that he did.
Yeah, right.
It's incredibly delicious. It's a flavor that is just so savory, but it also has a sweetness. It's a luxurious fat.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
if
so
you're lucky enough to eat it with some Chateau d'Yquem, you went to heaven.
Chateau Yquem,
Chateau Yquem.
not Dickem.
Oh.
Chateau Yquem. So,
which is a very, very small location in the Sancerre region. Sancerre? No.
where? Which one?
In Bordeaux. It's
Bordeaux is down. It's next to Burgundy. Aquitaine. Sancerre is the top. Is
yeah. Anyway, it's a very small location, and there are very few producers. There are very few vineyards, but it's an extraordinary wine that the grapes are allowed to kind of almost rot on the vine a little bit. The noble rot, they call it, and it just concentrates the sugars and the flavors in the grapes, and then they harvest these, and it's a very, very special wine. Not a lot of it is made, so of course it's very expensive. But it's extraordinary, and it's a dessert wine, but a lot of times it's served as a first course with the foie gras because they just pair up so beautifully. And it's not super sweet; it's got a kind of honeyed sweetness.
James, I think they serve Montbazillac, no?
That too.
With foie gras. Montbazillac has a more bitter flavor, right?
I think so. Yeah.
What do you drink with that?
Me? Oh,
what do you drink with that?
Me, I drink a Sauterne.
That's what I was trying to think of.
I stick to Sauterne with foie gras because I think he has a little more complexity. It's not as sweet as the Montbazillac is not as sweet as the Sauterne, but the complexity is not quite the same. Also, the price point is much cheaper on the Montbazillac than the Sauterne, and then the gold robe that you get into the Sauterne is really incredible because you look through the glass and you see those gold colors that come through, and it just really. The little point of acidity that's in there really helps.
Well, that's what I like about Montbazillac is that thing.
Yes, I think it's not my favorite. I mean, it's decent, but if you're gonna eat foie gras, let's pull out the good bottles. That's my opinion.
I have my foie gras.
But that's what I was trying to think of. That Chateau Yquem is actually within the Sauternes region, but it's a very small part of it. It's a very little vineyard.
Right.
I see. That's nice. Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay,
So, Chef Olive, there is like a one, I think, D'Artagnan.
D'Artagnan, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a website, I think, based of New York or Canada or both. That
Well, they're
still-
in New Jersey, but I think their foie gras is made somewhere in upstate New York.
and it's really delicious. Also, there is, I forgot which state it is, but there is one farmer that has his geese, and he found a way for his geese not to take off. So they just eat, and
Oh,
they're
wow.
free to fly away if they want, but they're just very happy and they stay there. So just keep feeding them, and they force feed themselves without any tube or anything like that, and they become very big, and then squeak. So
Yeah,
it's,
the Montbazillac, I agree. I like Montbazillac, but Chef Gabi likes Sauternes.
I vote for Sauternes.
And what do you like, James?
Sauternes.
I like
I think-
Montbazillac also, but I think that's why, because in one thing that was funny in France, my parents have a kind of a house in Normandy, small house where we go on the weekend sometime, and then what we have to do is we have to call the neighbors so they can heat up the house. The house is very cold. Everything is iced in the pipe, so they have to go in there the day before, put the heater, get the house warm. And every time I go there, when we open the fridge, sometimes we don't have time to go shopping for some reason. So we go, and last time I opened the fridge, there was 2 bottles of champagne and 3 cans of foie gras in the fridge. And then my mom is like, "This is my emergency stock. I don't care if we find a market open, but this is we can eat."
yeah.
Well, I get that. Yeah, right.
She's absolutely right.
Hmm.
So foie gras, not everybody likes it, I'm sure, but we
It's
do.
also pretty good with champagne because
Yeah.
the bubbles of champagne really just explode the flavors, just like they do with cheese. But I still like Sauternes the best.
So also there's a lot of different preparation, but the main ones are au torchon.
Yeah, auto show. What does that
Yeah.
mean? What does that mean, Chef Gabi?
So you once you have your foie gras cleaned and soaked in milk, so all the blood comes out of the liver. You just let like 2 masses and try to make like a boudin kind of by putting together, and then you use a cloth, like a cheesecloth, something that doesn't have any lint, and you're gonna tie wrap around the towels as tight as you can, and then kind of form like a boudin shape like this. And you're gonna tie each end, and then that's gonna be poached in duck fat at very low temperature for 20 to 30 minutes. And then you put it out, and you want to retie the foie gras so it's nice and compact and tight. And it should be like basically a medium rare. It should still be a little pink in the center. This is how it's best. Otherwise, you just render the fat and you end up with not much. So just a gentle poaching, and then you let it hang overnight so the fat can congeal, and then you roll it out and start to slice up, and little flour de sel, a warm knife cut across, and enjoy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good with nothing more than just a little salad and a glass of wine and some crusty bread. That's
And
all
then
you
little flour de sel and fresh cracked pepper.
Mhm.
Done.
What about
I like a little butter too.
A little butter.
A little butter.
butter? No.
Just in case there's a little room left in my arteries, I like to make sure that.
What about this guy with truffles?
Yeah, with truffle it's nice. So when we did it at Tout d'Argent, it was like a lot of fresh truffle chopped into it, and we put like a little rosace of fresh sliced truffle on top, and then we pour the fat, duck fat on top,
Right.
And you
This
could
fat is really good, guys. This is really, 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 really good. Okay, this is super fat. Don't, I mean, that's why it's here, by the way.
Debbie, is foie gras a seasonal thing in France, or is it
no, it's
available?
all year round.
Yeah,
It's all year round, but when it comes like Christmas, usually it's like a mandatory dish you need to have on the table. Like
right.
when you do a New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve, you can be sure as those 2 nights you will have some foie gras. If not the eve, it will be the day of.
Right.
So I want to add something, Gabi. I wanted to have you on the show, and I'm sure you're going to come back because now we have plenty of time. And by the way, Chef Gabi is an old friend of mine, and he just moved to to
Grand
Cedar
Rapids.
Rapids,
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids in way too far, way too far.
You're in
So,
Grand Rapids?
but
I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah.
he
Oh, no
just
kidding.
moved literally a week ago. He's
Pourquoi?
It's just, I think the Bay Area life was getting a little too expensive. My wife and I wants to have kids. We like to be able to buy a house, and that will be also easier to do. And there is not many French chefs in the area, so I think I can be a big fish in a small pond.
Sure. My brother used to live there. He lives up in Traverse City now.
Oh, that's nice. Cherry
My
capital.
brother, yeah, my brother and my sister and my mom are all up there in Traverse City. So
Oh, that's nice. Cherry Town. See
yeah,
that? Cherry, everything.
that's right. So maybe you'll have your restaurant open by the time I come and visit. I can.
I hope so. If that ban get lifted up sometime, and if they find a vaccine very soon.
I mean, eventually we're gonna have to go back to some type of business, you know. If not, everybody's gonna. I mean, all the restaurant people are suffering terribly right now. It's a catastrophe, and not everybody get their loan. We didn't. There's no money at all. It's really bad. Anyway, I wanted to ask. So, and this is something we can talk again. Sorry.
I'm here. I have a ringing in my ears.
Yeah. It's, cognac, Armagnac, and 7-Up.
For what?
Go away.
Huh? Or for a drink?
I'm kidding. For the ringing. So one thing, and I'm sure you will talk more about that, but one interesting thing about Chef Gabi's parcours is he used to work for this company in San Francisco that's really cool. So he worked with us for many years, but also he did some extra stuff with a big catering company. And I always loved the idea of people don't realize how much it takes to have a catering for 60,000 people. And I was wondering if I should, ask a bunch of chefs. I mean, what does it take? We have to build kitchen, and I know Chef Gabi, we used to do that. What's the maximum you cooked for Chef Gabi? Not by
About
yourself.
30,000 people.
30,000.
So you need like 12 to 15 like chefs that would be responsible for 1 to 2 dishes, and then you get 50 to 75 people that you never seen before. Some of them never worked into a kitchen before. It's like temp agency people. So you have to be really cautious with them and babysit them and be super sweet, and
Right.
you can't like rush them on anything because they get upset and they just want to walk away and go home. But I was able to get like about 25,000 sandwiches done in like 3.5 hours with a team like that, or bag up some popcorn to make 20,000 little bags. I mean, you have an army of people that you.
But you have to build kitchens, right?
Yes,
You have
to build kitchen. So
How
like.
many?
Depending on the menu, but about usually it's like 4 to 7 kitchens. Especially if there is like a VIP lounge. Then you have the fry land, you have the steam land for all the fried items, and you see like 35 to 40 fryers, like industrial fryers, sitting next to each other.
Wow.
Same thing when we did shumai and all those like pot stickers. You have like huge wok. You could take a bath in it. They're so big, and you have those huge baskets of shumai that has been made by hand and then
So
steamed.
how do you bring power?
The manpower. Oh, this is
No, the power, like electrical.
usually, so for the fryers, it's all gas. We get like electricity for the ovens. Otherwise, it's all like cassette feu, like portable burners, and we use like sternos to keep food hot into hot boxes. I mean, it is a lot of logistics. It's not difficult. It's just when the quantities come for so many people, you have to be ready. It's not like, oh, you have like 200 people coming and you're like a little behind. No, it's like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to hit with 5 to 10,000 people on your station at 7 o'clock. You better be ready.
Right. And it becomes real assembly line cooking, right? I mean,
It is.
everybody has to have a task where they do one thing over and over and over and
That's
over.
correct. Like, okay, we're doing tacos. There is 5 components. Each person has a component, and then we need to keep going because then you have all the the wind or the temperature change from outside. Like San Francisco is pretty windy, so you're making hot food. You're killing yourself to make hot food, and it cools down in like 5 minutes, and you're like, we can't
Yeah.
serve this.
Wow.
We can
How
serve
many
this.
chefs is that altogether? How many employees to serve that?
Oh, it's 300 to 400, without including the prep cooks that do the food before that. It takes weeks. Things get prepped and frozen and kept in the freezer at -10, and then thawed out a couple of days before, and then cooked, and then packed and ready to be finished.
I've worked I've worked catering a lot, and mostly as a server, but I've done a little bit of cooking. But I had a good friend in New York who was she had a catering business, a very successful catering business, and she told me that it used to drive her crazy. She would have people come to her, these young women, and they'd say, "Well, I'm not really happy in my job. I don't know what. I'm thinking of just maybe doing some catering." Drive her crazy. You know, they had no idea what it takes to do it. Even, I mean, 30,000 people is one thing, but even doing a party for 100 people, I mean,
That's a lot. Yeah.
it's you make lists, and then you make lists of your lists, and you have to organize personnel. You have
Catering is hard.
to move
Yeah.
stuff. You have to move stuff to the site. It's incredibly complicated, and but so many people just I'll just do a little catering if I can't figure out what else to do.
Yeah.
Used to drive her insane.
We just started to do some catering, and Chef Gabby is our kind of our catering manager, even though he's far away. And that takes a lot of skill already. I mean, it takes a lot of. Oh, you have to know things. You can't just, decide on a crazy menu and realize that it's impossible to make for more than 10. So it's not just picking the menu of something you like. It's something that's replicable and can be done without losing flavor over and over and over. That's the idea of catering. Catering is tough, right?
Did you cook it in Grand Rapids, Gabby, and then FedEx it out to California?
It will cost too much in dry ice.
Well, do we need dry ice?
Well, today, so a couple of days ago, we went grocery shopping, and I saw a local farm that was selling some ground beef by the pound, about $10 a pound. And I was like, oh, it looks pretty nice. It looked like 85-15 for the ratio of fat to meat. And I was really curious because it was like a farm that's 20 miles away.
Crazy, huh?
And it's been a while since I had a good burger. So I was like, ooh, I can't have good meat and not make my bun. So I found a little quick recipe that used a lot of yeast. But in 40 minutes, 45 minutes, I was able to have my nice bun out of the oven, and then a nice burger with like the home fries that we like to do at KOF with a little bit togarashi with it. It was very nice.
Nice.
Do you have pictures? No, not right
Yeah,
now.
I do have a picture. Yeah, I took a picture.
Man.
Well, we've been cooking a lot at home. I mean, everybody is because, I mean, I guess people are doing a lot of takeout, but very nice.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, I
Very,
didn't make the pickle.
God, man.
But I'm gonna get a bun.
very nice. Now I want a burger.
Yeah. Did you, Gabby? Did you put it on Facebook?
No, not yet, not yet. So I just put the buns in a bag to test them out to see how well they hold. but they were. I was always looking for like a softer burn. Um,
Wow.
Oh, very nice.
this is pretty soft, as you can see.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was like all-purpose flour. I mean, Chef Oli, I can share the recipe with you. It was very simple.
Yeah, we've done that. Yeah.
Wanted to add, I added some garlic powder in it and some dry oregano just to make it a little more interesting. And I've been using this like bagel, everything bagel seasoning, and it just gives like a nice little look, and it tastes good.
So
Very
Chef
nice.
is going to do food again, and we'll let you know, guys. He's making primarily right now some pate, which are really, really healthy, and it's super good. So I think you're going to go back to production eventually, right?
Yes, yes. I've been looking at the farmers market to get it back
Great.
to the group.
You should let us know so we can, I think people buy from all over the place now. There's no more, it doesn't matter where you live, right?
Yeah, depending on the product, but yeah, there is ways of shipping food with dry ice and
Great.
yeah.
I think we should put your product when you have them and then see. I mean, I tried it. It was so amazing. You do brioche, but the brioche is not going to travel well, right?
No, not with this
But the
recipe.
pate, right? Pate, yes.
You could
The
freeze
pate does. Hmm?
Couldn't you freeze the brioche?
The brioche could be frozen. I haven't looked into frozen transportation.
Yeah, that's a little more expensive.
It might be, but that's why I was like, I had like a bread bag leftover, a plastic bag. So I put the leftover buns in it, and I'm gonna see how well they behave within a week. If they start to mold, I don't think, but if they start to mold, or if they dry out, or this or that, because that's one product you can have like, oh, fresh buns that you just bake for like 5 minutes at 300, and then just to re-crisp it up, and then you have a good yummy bun. That
Yeah.
doesn't have
Yeah.
any conservatives or any, when I look at some ingredients into the bread, it's ridiculous amount of things they put in it when it's just like, maybe an egg and then some fat and flour and yeast.
Yeah. It's amazing when you look at the labels on packaged baked goods and how long the list of ingredients
I
are,
know.
most of which you can't pronounce.
Yes. That's
And
a-
it's mostly just to preserve it. It's so that it can sit on a grocery store shelf for 2 weeks. And it's not even the grocery store. It's got to sit in a warehouse first, and then be shipped across the country, and then put in the grocery store. And it's just all to keep it fresh longer.
Yes.
And
So
it's silly because so much of that stuff, like you say, is so easy to make. I mean, you could make it at home, and it would always be fresh.
yes. But for the people with busy schedule and stuff, like, I hope that the virus and the crisis right now really encourage people to do more cooking, to share things with the family and the kids, so you get more of that disconnect from the television and the computer, but go back to the roots, and it is to share moments in family without a screen. Just like, let's do some simple things. Let's make some cookies. Let's make some bread. Let's cook a pizza.
Right.
So
it's an excellent time for that stuff, and I hope people are doing it. I hope people are sitting down with their families for dinner, and they often can't because of busy schedules. So now is a perfect time to get to know your family again.
Mm-hmm.
So, you guys were almost out of time, and that was good to have you, Gary. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sure we'll have you more on the show because we're
Yes, we'll invite you on the show again with some
to cook
specific
next time.
questions.
So
All
yeah.
right, well, we're just about out of time. That was fun. We'll be back tomorrow with hopefully more questions.
We're gonna come back tomorrow with less things to say. Okay. And
We've got lots of things to say.
every day we're gonna do less and less.
One day we're going to do a whole show where we're just going to sit here and eat the whole time. We're not going to say anything. We're just going to sit here and eat.
Some people do that online, man. It's crazy. It is just like the pyramids.
Right.
The pyramids is just some archaeologist was saying, it's just to show you that when you look at the pyramid, you can see that the workers was doing less and less and less.
That's the American way.
Oh man!
Listen,
All right, Chef.
Gabby,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so much
much.
for joining us. Thank everyone else for joining us.
Thank you,
Everybody
Ben.
stay
Thank
well.
you, Olive.
See you this week.
Okay, have a great evening.
You too.
Don't get
Bye.
afraid of your
Thank you.
kitchen.